Hey, this is Brett, and I just wanted to show you some of the work that I did at a place that I used to work. You can't always take your work with you when you go, but in this case, I was using the Google Suite to make some of the processes that we did in the office a lot quicker. Basically, what the situation was is it was a property management place that also had a maintenance crew. And so we had a lot of receipts that came in every day, and we had a lot of expenses that we had to keep a record of. And there was not really a good method of doing that when I got there. So basically, processing timesheets and incoming expenses, and also keeping up with other of these things. And so I wanted to show what I came up with to make some of those processes easier. Here we go. With Google Sites, you can have an outward public facing website, or you can use it internally. And what I did is I created a bunch of forms that fit our needs, and I would just simply click the form according to the process that I needed to accomplish. This is the accounts payable. You would choose the business that you were doing, and these are, job specific and company specific. We had multiple companies under one umbrella, and we would basically just use this form to put in the commonly chosen answers, and the data that was necessary, the dates, the associated jobs, the amount, and then had the ability to upload an image of the file. And then this is where it all came down. This is some of the information that was owed and all of that. So I'm not going to dwell on that page for very long. But this is just an example of how it worked. It dumped it into a response. Receive a receipt, we would click on this form here, and you put the person who was responsible, the work order, upload your file, and if you had any other things to say, it would all dump it out to a document where when it came to accounting time, you could check when it was inputted and which work order it was associated with. If you needed to see the receipt, this kind of did away with the need to keep a paper receipt, and so you filed it and you put it where it needed to be, and if there was any explanations, and you could see who you could track down if something went wrong with the transaction. Whenever there would be an employee who paid something out of their own pocket, we would click the reimbursements, and it would bring us to this form. And this one was very important because you always want to make sure that your employees get paid back if they're owed, by the company to reimburse them for supplies or something. So you type in the name of the employee, the amount of the reimbursement, the date of the reimbursement, and if you have to add a file with the receipt, then you click on the responses. And I blacked out the personal identifying features of this, and so the accountant would process the employee reimbursements, and then I would gray it out just by highlighting and choosing this over white. So anyway, that's how I did it, and it's just an example of how you could use these forms to keep your accounting with the business that you have. Most of the reimbursements were for particular jobs that had to be associated with a job that could be charged to the customer, but office expenses were the actual company, and they were more like internal overhead expenses. So we would click the office expense and fill out the form, which particular business was responsible for that expense. The item description, the dates, the vendors, the cost, and whoever's responsible, and the place to upload the file, just like all the other ones. And this one, as well as the other ones, came up with a nice formatted ongoing log that the accountant could use to tally up the monthly or whichever costs for the office expenses. I'd like to show you is the tools and equipment. This is more like an inventory when we bring stuff in that is going to be useful for other jobs, or equipment that is going to be part of the assets of the company. We put it in this particular place, and so when the receipts would come in for a machine or a tool that's going to be used on other jobs, we would put it in here instead of just being a regular expense. People might ask, why don't you use something like QuickBooks? And the answer to that was that the accounting processes for multiple businesses under one operation was pretty much too complex to work out into the QuickBooks. And these processes that I came up with were kind of like, things are piling up and we got to do something to make this come out easier for the people in the office. So that's basically why we started using a different type of process than accounting software, which is the ideal if you're running a proper business. And so this was just to functionally keep up with the workload that we were undergoing. So it's just a example of being able to look at the situation and solve the problem. That's basically what trying to display here. Because it was a small operation and we were just kind of getting off the ground, there was not any really public facing website that we were working on. These were just for our internal documents, and wasn't really a publicly searchable link. And there are some security issues with it because it was really on my personal sites and not really behind Google's big wall that they have when you pay for the service of Google Suites, which is something that is a good positive way to handle some of these. I use this kind of as a catch-all for things which were some of the handbooks that I developed while I was there for some of the processing of accounting, and some of the writing that I did to kind of get some of the ideas in one spot, and put them on this website to kind of show that they were available and that they were usable if useful. And then we also could keep a calendar on here. So anyway, that's what I wanted to show you, and I wanted to show you that have the ability to solve problems and use the available tools to do what needed to be done. And this is the point in the video where we say thank you for watching, and please subscribe to the channel, right?